All right, what's going on, everyone? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We have a lot to talk about today. Well, this week we have a lot to discuss. All right, got a lot of catching up to do and a lot going on to move forward. Okay, but I'm gonna try to address as much as I can today, and we could get it going, man. We can move on. All right. Um, First off, it is Shakur Stevenson, Jamel Herring fight week. These guys are going to be fighting Saturday night on ESPN. Jamel Herring is going to be defending his title. This is going to be the first real step up for Shakur Stevenson in many people's eyes. And I can't confirm yet if I'm going to be able to go live and do commentary Saturday night. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. I'm pretty 50-50 for it right now. All right. Shout out to everyone that's here so far. Eddie Morales, Derry Douglas. What's up, man? Everyday life, what's going on? Okay. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this AJ thing. You know, I see your comment, Eddie. I saw it before I went live. I see your comment too as well every day. We definitely gonna cover a lot of it today. And we're going to talk about some other things as well. But make sure you watch that Shakur Stevenson fight. It should be a good fight this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Shakur actually finally like getting someone in the ring with him that people actually respect. You know? So that's how I feel. Karma, what's up? Herring Tom. Okay. It should be a good fight, man. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a very good fight. All right. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about. All right. But before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about Mikey Garcia and his loss the other day, his upset loss against Sandor Martin, which was supposed to be a tune-up for him. Okay. He fought this really, really hungry, slick southpaw the other night. And things did not work out well for Mikey Garcia. Not at all. All right. He didn't look good. He didn't look good. He looked rusty. You know, it's been, I don't know, maybe around 20 months or so since his last fight. And it looked like it. It pretty much looked like it. But the thing is, too, about Mikey Garcia, and some of you may disagree with me. I know a lot of you were probably here last year when I covered the fight with Jesse Vargas. I don't know if it was last year, but it seemed like it was such a long time ago. But I think it was last year. When he fought Jesse Vargas, I did cover the fight live. I remember doing live commentary for that fight. And if you were here, I thought the fight was a lot closer than the way the judges scored it. A hell of a lot closer than the way the judges scored it. In fact, I think at the very end of it all, I thought that fight was a draw, even with the knockdowns and everything. And I understand that Mikey hurt him several times throughout the fight. I thought Jesse did more each and every round. You know, I didn't think Mikey did much in that fight. And I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed then. So even though I was shocked that Mikey lost the other day, it wasn't it was a pretty bad upset. It was. But the way that the guy boxed, he boxed where I was not familiar. I did not have the time to like really check this guy out. I know Mikey was fighting, but I saw that it was a tune-up fight. So I wasn't that interested, you know? I just wasn't. But I checked the fight out. And I saw the kid. I saw the way he was boxing, you know, very, very slick southpaw, moved extremely well, kept backing himself into the corner, setting traps for Mikey and just pivoting his way out of the danger zone and just kept moving really well and pot shot it well. I mean, there was times where I thought Mikey kind of trapped him and he just drew like a flurry and he caught Sandor a few times. So I'm like, man, Sandor's going to mess around and get knocked out at some point. But no, he took the shots well. He took the shots better than Jesse Vargas did. And he outboxed Mikey. And to be honest, I didn't think it was that hard to score. I thought it was pretty clear. I think it was so clear to me that even that one judge that scored it a draw, I call him like the fixed judge, the fixed judge, because there's always one judge that's in there for the fix, for the heavy favorite. That's if Mikey did a little better, he would have had it wide for Mikey. But Mikey did so poorly, even that judge could not save him. It was that clear to me, at least to me. It was very clear that this guy outboxed Mikey. All right. So anyway, Mikey lost the other night. I know a lot of us wanted to see him against Regis Prograis. I know I definitely wanted to see that fight. But I wasn't expecting Mikey to go in there right away. When I first heard about Regis Prograis and Mikey Garcia, I said they're gonna have to throw the bag at Mikey for him to take that fight right now. Because the fact that he was inactive, even if he wasn't inactive, that's a very tough fight. And that's a fight that, when guys are stars and they've been around and they've been involved with pay-per-views and they have a name, usually fighters don't take those kind of fights unless it's for something bigger than just taking a fight. There's no title involved. And that's just not the kind of fight that I would expect Mikey to get involved in right now, unless it was for big money. I hate to say it, but let's be real. This is boxing at the end of the day. We usually don't get fighters to jump in the ring with dangerous opponents like that, hungry opponents like that, and I thought that was dangerous. And honestly, I was leaning towards Prograis, naturally bigger. All right. I don't think he's as good as Spence, but him being a southpaw, him being able to move well, him having power, is a great at controlling the distance, controlling that range, using that lead hand to control the range and pop and shoot that straight left. He's very, very good, and Sandor Martin, he's not like Regis Prograis. He's not like him. Okay. He's a little bit more of a mover. Obviously he doesn't rely on his power, but he's real slick, and obviously I think Prograis would have done even better, but that guy was an issue. That guy was a problem too, and it is what it is. I don't know what happens. When I think about Mikey Garcia, and I've said this plenty of times on the channel because I've been on Mikey Garcia for a long time. I remember when Mikey Garcia and Gamboa was one of my dream fights at once upon a time. This is before the top rank lawsuit and all that stuff. This is back when Mikey was considered a pound for pound fighter, right? A top 10 before the break. And I remember him talking about retirement. I remember him back then even talking about becoming a police officer. And I just felt like he just did it because he was so talented. He just stuck with the sport because he knew he could get paid from it. And he knew that he was good. And I always wondered, Mikey's hunger is not really there like that. He just does it, and I don't know if he's going to have a rematch with this guy. I don't know if he's still going to just try to get another big fight. But if you're not really interested in a sport like that, bro, don't keep fighting. What I'm going to wonder now is the purse that they offer him for his next fight, whoever he fights, is it going to be dropped lower because of this loss? I'm assuming so. And if that purse does drop, is he going to stick around? And that's going to be the telling thing to me. If they drop his purse, which is kind of expected, right? Since you lose to pretty much a guy that is pretty much a journeyman right now. When you lose like that, the purse, the numbers, the money is going to fall off a bit. Are you still going to be interested? Are you willing to fight him or some other guys that maybe are not elite fighters, but are you willing to take a couple fights to get yourself back in the mix? I just said this about Julian J. Rock Williams when he had the upset. It's upset season right now. You know, it's upset season right now. So these fighters got to be real careful right now who they, I don't want to say be careful because I want to see the best fights, but it is upset season right now, and I'm waiting to see what Mikey does about this loss. Like, is he going to rematch this guy? And if he doesn't rematch him, who will he fight? Because right now, if he goes back to fighting a guy with a name, I think he should be an underdog at that point, coming off of that win or coming off of that loss. And again, I was not impressed with the what's this guy named? The fighter he fought last. I was just talking about Jesse Vargas win. I wasn't impressed with that win. I don't think he won more rounds in that fight. I think the knockdown secured a win for him. But he was in a little better shape at that point. That's another thing. Mikey belongs at 135 to me. He just doesn't belong at 140 or 147 to me. I know he could do damage. All right. I know he picked up a title at 140. I understand. But he looks chubby still. He's looked chubby since he moved up. All right. He looks chubby. That's just my opinion. I mean, he can do much better at 135. And I honestly believe he just didn't want the Lomachenko smoke. Similar to this guy, Kell Brook, didn't really want to take that Errol Spence fight. Nobody really wanted Errol Spence at the time. It was real risky. It was real risky at the time. Errol was undefeated. I mean, he still is, but, he was the guy on the come up. He was the Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. at the time. He was the hungry dude coming up. Right now, no one wanted to be that first guy to get in there with Errol. I'm not saying these guys were scared, but the Thurmans and the Porters, they were already at the top of their game. Garcia, all of these guys were already at the top looking for a title shot. They weren't looking to get in there with the young, hungry bull that's on the come up. They weren't in there for that guy. That was a step up for Errol, not for them. But Errol did what he had to do. He's unified and stuff. Cool. But Kell Brook didn't really want to fight him. He said, let me go up to Triple G. Because I won't be the favorite to win. But if I lose to him, people will still respect it, especially if I do well. Same thing happened with Mikey. People wanted the Lomachenko fight. People wanted it. People saw the video of you and him in that room sizing each other up and stuff. And then we never got the fight. What happened? And this was at a great time because at this time, 135 is popping. I mean, you didn't have Teofimo at the top and Haney and all these guys. They weren't at the top yet, but it was still a good division. I even wanted to see Mikey Garcia fight what's his name? Jorge Linares. I wanted to see that fight for years. I've been wanting to see that fight. As soon as Mikey came back and picked up a belt at 135, when he returned, I wanted him to see him fight Jorge Linares. We never got it. I know people like to just write off Linares like he's no one. Man, that guy was one of the top fighters at 135 for years. So anyway, Mikey, in my opinion, he dug Loma. He went up, lost to Spence. And, I know he picked up a win against Jesse Vargas, and that was cool. But, me honestly, I think Mikey has a lot more potential. But he treats boxing like it's a part-time job. And that's my problem with him. He's like, I'll do it. You pay me to fight, I'll do it. He's like a celebrity boxer at this point. And that's my problem with Mikey. He treats boxing like it's a part-time job, and if he is going to come back with that same mentality, whether he rematches this guy or whether he, I don't know what it is he needs to do, but he's too relaxed, man. He needs to take this thing seriously, because I'm not saying it's over for him, because it's not. But it really depends on where he wants to take it with the sport. You know, people lose here and there. You know, upsets do happen. But you clearly lack the hunger. It's clear. All right. Real quick, since we on 135, I'm going to address this whole Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney situation quick, because I'm tired of these guys at 135. I've expressed this many, many times. I'm tired of these dudes. I don't even like the fact that they call these dudes kings. You know, Ryan is kind of maybe about to be on his way back. You know, he's recovering from surgery. Hopefully we'll get him back in the ring. You know, he had his biggest win. He quit from boxing because of mental illness, and he just had surgery. Hopefully we can see him back at some point. Tank is going to fight Rolly Romero. I think it's very funny. I think Rolly Romero is a funny, weird dude. Very awkward. I think the only advantage of Rolly Romero going into that Devin Haney fight, not Devin Haney, this guy, Tank Davis fight, is the fact that he is awkward. Okay? He fights real weird. You know? So maybe that could be beneficial towards him. I personally think Tank is going to knock him out. But whatever. Those two are fighting. What's up, everyone that's coming in, by the way? Duke Olden, Devion, Rock Sports, what's up? Deuce, what's up? Leo, 1 foot out the door. Everyone that's here. Shout out to everyone that's here in the building, all right? Eddie Hernandez, I see you. I see everyone that's here. I see your comments. I'm just trying to cook real quick. So, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. I seen their little back and forth the other day. I'm sticking with my guns. I don't care how much y'all talk to each other. I don't care about what's said. If you guys are fighting, that's all that matters to me. I say it every single time. I said this on Twitter the other day. I said, I remember when Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford were face to face, and we had that nice back and forth of trash talk between the two. I loved it. I loved it. Guess what? That was like 3 years ago now. They never fought. All the content creators like myself made all of these videos talking about Spence, talking about Crawford, and these two never fight. And they never fought. Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, the other, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, all these dudes do is talk and fight somebody else. It is a pattern, and we got to stop this. Let's build up a fight by talking to the fighter that everybody wants us to fight. Right? They all do it. Ryan Garcia was talking about Manny Pacquiao earlier this year. Ryan Garcia was calling everybody out. When it's time to get down, though, these guys always fight somebody else that we're not asking for. Let's see what happens with Devin Haney and Joseph Diaz Jr., all right? If him and Diaz fight, that would be a good fight. Teofimo Lopez is supposedly finally going to fight George Kambosos. So he has to do what he has to do. You know, Haney needs to, you know, if the Diaz fight happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, you need to jump on a card. You need to get a fight going, because you can't stay inactive because you're not getting the fights that you want. All right? But yeah, these guys, they got to get it going, man. That's it. I don't have nothing else to say about the N-word thing. This is my thing, right? And I'm not going to stay on this all day, because I'm not going to entertain people on YouTube with agendas. I'm not giving them ammunition. As far as the N-word thing, Devin Haney and Bill Haney was right there when he said it. If they had a problem with it, they would have done something on the spot. since they didn't have a problem with it, and I'm assuming that they didn't have a problem with it because it wasn't a problem when the cameras was on, then I don't care. They didn't find it offensive. I don't care who feels a way about it. I don't care if you're a fan and you feel a way about it. They were there. They didn't have a problem with it. I'm not expecting it to be anything. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to that term, and I'm not going to, again, I'm not trying to give nobody ammunition because these type of topics is not something that I get into on here because boxing fans are they're out of control. When it comes to that term, it's either, look, are we going to accept the term or are we going to just completely remove the term? So you can't be out here calling each other that all day and then get mad when somebody else do it. And I mean, when I say that, let me not say that. You can't get mad when other people that's outside the race get mad or not. Let me say this again. You can't expect other people to care if they see you calling each other that all day. They're not going to care. They're not going to care. And if they're seeing it and they don't see that Devin Haney cares, they don't see that Bill Haney cares, they're not going to care. That's a problem. And the other problem is everybody's not going to be on the same page. Because you got these dudes in New York that's Puerto Rican and whatever, they say the word all day. But if you're from a different place, you might take offense to it. Or if you're just a different person, you might take offense to it or you might not care. But the people that just talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, this ain't going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, I just want the fight. I really don't care what they saying to each other. I don't. If Devin has a problem with it, beat his ass in the ring. I do not care about what this guy's called. I don't care what he calls you in a face-off. I do not care. Beat his ass in the ring. If you feel a way about it, that's it. I don't care about everybody else's opinion on it. Like, I don't care. I don't. All right. Just get the fight done. And if the fight doesn't happen, stay active. And that's it. These guys at 135, they're a bunch of jokes. None of them fight each other. I love them. They're good. They're good fighters. They don't fight each other. All right. So I'm not making videos on this N-word stuff. That's my whole opinion on it. And that's the last time I'm going to talk about it. I'm not doing this. And then the white boy thing with Lomachenko, that I'm tired of this pity patty stuff. You guys gonna fight or what? That's it. You know what I'm saying? If you're offended by it, are you gonna fight him or what? That's my stance on it. Are you gonna fight or what? You are allowed to legally fight each other. You are allowed to legally, possibly, and I hope nobody dies, but you are allowed to legally kill somebody in the ring. You're allowed to do it. Right? So if anyone is offended about anything, please do it in the ring. That's it. I'm glad they didn't fight. All right. I'm glad that they mouth off. That's cool. It's good to build up the fight. But that's all it is to me. I look at it and I'm like, all right, they talking trash again. Are you guys gonna actually fight? That's my only question. Because if you don't fight, I do not care. You can call each other whatever you want. It could be as offensive as possible. But I do not care. All right. Let's move on. Dillian White. All right, man. Listen, let's call it spade a spade. Dillian White ducks Otto Wallin. It is what it is. Dillian White is ducking Otto Wallin. I made a video about this a couple weeks ago. I don't think this fight was going to be an easy fight for Dillian White. It was a very, very, very risky fight. All right. And a fight like that to have right before the fight that you always wanted. I see where they were going with it. You know what? This is pull out. I got a shoulder injury, and we're just going to pull out the fight overall. It's not, no, we're going to reschedule the fight. No, it's we're not fighting you at all. That's what happened, guys. Dillian White is not fighting this man. Otto Wallen is done. You know, his promoter, Otto Wallen, his team, they're very disappointed. They wanted to reschedule it if this injury is real. It's over. You know what I'm saying? It's over. So we're not getting that. It is a duck. It is a duck. All right. But at the end of the day, Dillian White, he deserves this WBC shot. I'm not taking that away from him. He deserves it. He's been fighting guys on a level of Otto Wallin and better for years now, and he's been holding it down consistently without getting a title shot. There's been plenty of WBC mandatories over the years that didn't do shit, but they kept getting title opportunities, multiple title opportunities. They just kept pushed to the front over Dillian White. So he still deserves this. Like, we're not going to deflect from the fact that Dillian White still deserves his title shot. But he did duck Otto Wallin. Did he duck him? Yes, it's a duck. You get an injury, and you pull out of a fight and said, we're not going to even reschedule it. We're just going to move on, and we're going to go straight to Tyson Fury. It's a chess move. That's a pure chess move. All right? This is planned out. I am not surprised. This is part of the reason why I keep telling you guys, I'm not going to any fights that's not local. And if I go to a local boxing match, I'm buying my tickets 3 days before the fight. I am not flying nowhere. I am not taking off. I'm not rescheduling anything, because boxing, the way boxing works, if a fight is scheduled, we're not going to get that fight until months after the fight was scheduled. That is just the way boxing works. People get injuries, people getting COVID, people finding reasons not to fight, whatever. Mental health, it could be anything. I am not flying anywhere to watch a fight, period. Because no fight ever occurs on the first scheduled date. Until boxing comes back around to a point where we can continuously or consistently get fights as they're scheduled, then I'll start going to fights again, or then I'll start traveling to fights again. But I will not be purchasing anything. Listen, I'll support in other ways. I'll support by, paying for some of the pay-per-views, and I pay for DAZN. I pay this. I don't stream these things. I pay for ESPN. I pay for DAZN. I pay for the pay-per-views in order to, do these live commentaries and stuff. I support in that way. I used to support by going to these fights, buying tickets. I don't support. I'm not supporting boxing if it doesn't support me. I'm not flying out to anywhere. So this stuff with the injuries is nonsense. All right. But Dillian do deserve his big shot, and I'm not going to take that away from him because he didn't fight Otto Wallin. It doesn't work that way. Otto Wallin, I give him a lot of credit. He definitely did good against Tyson Fury. He was able to easily outbox Brazil. Okay, that was a good win, but I'm not going to take anything from Dillian White. He deserves his fight, and I'm going to wait and see what Tyson Fury is going to do. Because we sit here and we leave all these comments about Undisputed or who should be fighting Fury next, is what's going to happen with, should Joshua step aside? Is Fury even going to stick around to fight Dillian White? Because Fury clearly has no interest in fighting Dillian White. And Fury does not like being told what to do. Yes, he fought Deontay Wilder 3 times. All right. But there was a period where White came up. And this guy, Tyson Fury, was like, nah, I'm not going to fight him. I don't care what the WBC says. I'm not fighting that guy. And he didn't need to. You know why? Because he got his opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder anyway. He didn't have to go through White. He just came back from wherever he was at, and they threw him right in there with Deontay Wilder. He didn't have to go through Dillian White. Dillian White was already the number 1 or whatever it was. It was never legit like the mandatory. Yeah, Deuce, I hear you. Tyson should give Dillian White a shot, but it doesn't work that way. What's up, Captain? What's good? Wilding won Brazil, but it wasn't an outclass performance. Just good. If you're afraid of film, what about the elite? Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but the man is one step away from something that he's been one step away for years now. The man fought Povetkin. And I know it's older Povetkin, but he fought Povetkin. You know what I'm saying? He fought a lot of people that they were good fighters. And these guys were on at least at the level of a Wallin or even better. Dillian White has been fighting guys. Oscar Vivas it was a more dangerous fight for Dillian White because of his power. That guy has the power to change the fight at any point. And it almost happened in that fight. Dillian White was winning, on the scorecards easily. But what happened when Rivas landed clean? Dropped White. Rocked him a couple times. That's a dangerous fight. And he did it. And at that point, he already earned a title shot to me. But he was still taking fights that way. Like that. So yeah, Dillian White, Otto Wallin, it's over. It's a wrap. That's done. Dillian White is still the interim champion. That doesn't change his status. This fight does not change his status at all. And Tyson Fury has to defend his title against Dillian White. If he doesn't, he's going to be stripped or whatever. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens here, folks. I'm waiting to see, I've been reading different comments all week about how they view this whole thing with Wilder and White and Joshua and Usyk, and let me tell you guys something. The opinions are all over the place, man. I mean, the opinions are all over the place. And the thing is, we don't even know what Fury is going to do. And we don't even know what Wilder is going to do. But what I would tell you is that the standards are completely different with every fighter. The standards are completely different. Wilder, as much as I love that fight, as much heart that as he showed in that fight, it was a great fight. I loved it. It was a classic to me. Let's not forget, Deontay Wilder took a lot of punishment in 2 fights back to back. Okay? He took a lot of damage in 2 fights that he lost. Whether you think Fury cheated, whether you think it's a long count or not, whatever you guys want to say, Deontay Wilder took crazy damage to the head 2 fights back to back. And the last fight, he got savagely knocked out by Tyson Fury. How do we even know where Wilder belongs at this point? Is he coming back? Is he still going to be the same Wilder that we've seen him in his best day? He's 36 years old. We don't even know. But everybody will sit here and predict and tell you what should be done next. Yada, yada, yada. This guy should be fighting this guy next. This guy got to fight. We don't even know what these fighters are going to do. We got to sit here and wait. That's all we can really do right now. Sit back and wait. At least that's what I'm doing. What if Wilder comes back and fights a journeyman? Right? Let's say Wilder takes 6 months to a year off. Let's say Wilder takes a year off. It's very possible, right? He comes back and fights a journeyman. He fights a Konaski, somebody that just got lost, just lost again. So right now, his stock is low too. But let's just say he fights someone, just to get it going again. Let's say Maybe he pulls off the win, but he struggles against someone that he wouldn't normally struggle against. What happens then? What happens? Because we saw what just happened to Mikey Garcia. We saw what just happened to Julian J. Rock Williams. Guys that's been inactive, coming back, not looking so good. What happens then? We got to wait and see. And that's the thing. We got to just be patient. Wilder could retire too. Albert, I see what you're saying. He could just retire. What if he say, you know what, I got nothing else to prove. I'm going to retire. What if Tyson Fury says, you know what, I don't got nothing else to prove to you guys. I'm just going to retire. What happens? Then we have to have a whole nother conversation about legacy here. Like in the video I did the other day. Yes, in here comparing these guys to all-time great. What if they retire tomorrow? Where do you place them? Where? So we just got to sit back, kick back, wait. Let's talk about Anthony Joshua, man. I know a lot of y'all want me to talk about him, and I've been thinking about it. You know, I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been reading the comments. Shout out to everyone that's here, man. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. I've been reading the comments, man. I appreciate the comments, man. You guys left some really good comments. I like that people are throwing a lot of names out there. Different coaches, trainers. All right, guys, you guys think that Joshua should get with. You know, I told y'all the other day, I really don't know. I really don't know how to call this one here. You know why? Because I do think Joshua needs a new trainer. All right. I think Bob McCracken has taught him everything that he could at this point. Joshua has had a great career so far. He was able to pick up 3 titles, defend the titles, become 2-time heavyweight champion, right? Cool. There's so many amazing trainers, man. There's so many that he can go to. How do you decide on a trainer? Well, I can tell you based on the comments that I've been reading, right? And I'm not speaking for everyone when I say this. Honestly, a lot of people pick trainers based on the fighters that they love. A lot of people. Not everyone, but a lot of people. You love, you know, you might love Andre Ward. So the first person you think is to say Virgil Hill. You know? You're gonna pick trainers that you love. You might pick Abel Sanchez, right? Abel Sanchez, he trained Gennady Golovkin. You might say him. All right? You might say Buddy McGirt. You might say whoever. Made a little list here. Let's look at this list I put down. John David Jackson, Freddie Roach, Buddy McGirt, Jonathan Banks, Virgil Hill, Ben Davison, Barry McGuigan, Shane McGuigan, Roy Jones, Eddie Reynoso, Teddy Atlas, Bo Mack, Kenny Porter, Ronnie Shields, Derek James, Andre Rozier, Robert Garcia, Abel Sanchez, Floyd Sr. It's so many. There's so many. We can keep going. We can go all day. People say, well, he needs an aggressive trainer, a guy that's going to teach him to be aggressive. How many trainers in that list are aggressive? I have had fighters that are aggressive. How do you decide? How do you pick them? You know this thing what AJ reminds me of? If you're a basketball fan, I gotta throw a basketball. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to the Knicks game tonight, y'all. I'm going to the Knicks game. The Knicks season opener tonight. I'll be there. But yo, this AJ trainer thing, right? Him going around, we seen clips and videos of him going to different gyms. I don't even think this is something that AJ is trying to push on people. Anywhere he go, people are going to take out their cameras and record him there. So I don't even think this is a world tour of AJ looking for trainers because he just wants to be seen. Yusa said, what about Teddy Atlas, Wave? I feel like Joshua needs mental strength more than anything else, and Teddy can inspire. Well, he's in my top pick for that reason. So I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I agree with you. Yes, I like that, by the way. I like that because we thinking the same. But let me get back to my point. LeBron James, when he was getting traded for the first time from Cleveland, they had a whole broadcast of him just make a decision on where he was going to go. So right now, this reminds me of that. He's just bouncing around. Man, he might not even switch trainers. He might just really just be seeing what's out there. And Yusef, thank you for the donation, brother. Appreciate it every time, all the time. He might not even switch trainers. He might just, you know what? Let me see what's out there. Let me get a feel of what's out there. You know, let me move around a little bit. Let me go to the States. Let me see what's going on here. I'm gonna go to Cali. I'm gonna go to Texas. He might come up to New York. I don't know what he's gonna do next. All right. I have no idea. But how do you select a trainer? How do fans define or decide what trainer? Most of us fans have never even met any of these people before or even trained with them. Most boxers haven't even trained with more than 2 or 3 of these guys at some point. So how do you decide? Well, we could decide off personalities. Like my man Yusef said a minute ago, we know how Teddy Atlas rolls, especially on that corner. Now, I like Teddy Atlas, right? Because of that energy, mentally. But sometimes I've seen Teddy Atlas giving instructions, and they might have not been the best instructions at the time. So to push people, I think he's number one as far as pushing people to get out there and give it your all. Gives you that Rocky motivation, that Mickey motivation from Rocky. Mickey, God damn, you get killed, kid. The old man, yeah, he gives you that. So mentally, it might help him. But what if you're not getting the proper instructions? How many times have we been watching a fight and we're like, what is he talking about? They got the cameras on him in the corner. What the hell is he telling him to do? This guy ain't telling him anything. He's not giving him proper instructions. So at the end of the day, how do we make the decision? I think there's certain fighters or certain trainers that are better at defense. Some are better at offense. Some are better at motivation, mentally pushing you. Some trainers are more laid back, right? How do we decide? Plus, another thing I was thinking too, how do you decide by spending one day with a coach, right? You go see Eddie Reynoso, and then you fly off to Texas to see Ronnie Shields. How long are you sticking around Ronnie Shields? Are you visiting other coaches while you're in the area? What's happening with that? It's based on chemistry, guys. It's based on chemistry. A lot of fighters, when they talk about different coaches they have, like Freddie Roach and Pacquiao, yo, we got together and we just clicked. They'll tell you. If you watch their documentaries, they'll tell you all the time, yo, we got together and everything just clicked. You know, we started training and I just realized this was my coach. I heard it all the time. I heard it from different fighters. James Kirkland. James Kirkland ain't the most skilled, talented fighter. He's not. He's far from it. He's a rugged, animalistic fighter. But whenever he wasn't with Ann Wolfe, he looked terrible. He looked terrible. Every single time he was not with Ann Wolfe. We know he was always kind of chinny. We knew that, you know, he need to come forward. He can't really box well. He has no defense. But He knew how to mentally break you. And that's how he beat the fighters that he beat. But whenever he wasn't with Ann Wolf, he was never at his best because him and Ann pushed him every single time. Nobody bring her up, but I thought about her because we're talking about aggression. You talked about Teddy Atlas and mental, and Wolf is 20 times worse than him. So this is what I'm saying. Like, how do we decide as fans or even as boxers, trainers? Because everybody watch these videos. How do you decide? And how do you decide based on spending a day with them? Especially when you've been with the same coach for years. How do you decide? That's my question. You know, I thought of Derek James because, I'm going down through each one and I'm thinking of each fighter. Some of these fighters, when each guy have been fighting that way for years. Triple G has been fighting like that for years. He's been fighting like that for years. It's just that certain trainers know how to expand your style. They know how to make improvements off your style. So him and Abel Sanchez was able to work very good. So when he left Abel and went to Jonathan Banks, well, Jonathan Banks, from what I've seen, right, Jonathan Banks was showing Triple G like, look, you got to work on your defense a little bit more because you're getting up there in age. You're not going to just continue just walking through shots all fight. So we're going to work on your head moving. We're going to teach you more to work on, slipping shots as it's coming in, because you're working on an older version of Triple G. Now, I think a lot of it may have had to do with a lot more than just changing trainers. I know there was some financial issues with Triple G. But as I go down every single one of these coaches and look at who is currently in their stable, who was in their stable in the past, like I said, I was thinking of Derek James. I think he did a lot with Charlo, changing his style, making him more aggressive, him becoming a knockout artist. But even though he's been a knockout artist, it didn't look good in his last fight. It wasn't enough in his last fight. And that brings to another point. Like I said in the video I did yesterday, that's a whole nother point. Will it be enough? When will it ever be enough for Joshua to fight Usyk? Can any of these trainers make Joshua better than Usyk? Because people keep saying that Joshua mentally this. Joshua didn't fight as a heavyweight. Joshua didn't use his size. Everyone has something to say about something. But what if Usyk is just better than AJ and he beats him 10 out of 10 times? What if Usyk just has his number? Sorry for the sirens, but you know how it is. What if Usyk is just better than him no matter what? Or what if it is a mental thing with AJ and he can't get out of that lost space, that cloud he's in? What if he can't get out of that? Because, we don't really want to take credit. Like, we don't want to. The thing I don't like about this topic here, when I'm sitting here going through these lists and trying to decide, I feel like I'm taking credit away from the win. Usyk's win. Now, you guys know I love AJ and wanted him to win bad. But you also know that I was fearful for this fight because I'm aware of Usyk and his skill. I know he's more skillful than Anthony Joshua. None of these trainers can make him better than Usyk. Now, he doesn't have to be better than him in order to beat him. He needs to be better than him that night. But as I go through these trainers and I sit here and say, well, AJ needs to this, I'm taking the credit away from Usyk because Usyk came in with his coach, with his style, and was able to outbox. It wasn't a lucky punch that landed. No, he thoroughly outboxed him round by round. Mark Breland, I thought of him too. I didn't name everybody. I named a good amount here, but we can go in talking about coaches. There's hundreds of coaches we can bring up. You know, but we're naming coaches based on, a lot of us are naming them based on who we respect, you know, based on who they coach and similar. Listen, every coach, every one of these coaches have a stable of fighters that are completely different from each other. That's why it's so hard to really determine who to pick. Virgil Hunter or Virgil Hill. No, Virgil Hunter is you know, he's more of a defensive guy. You know, he's never really, you know, like, to me, he's not the most aggressive of coaches. I'm talking about the fighter. But people have brought him up, his name up a lot. You know? Another thing is too, like, when it comes to these trainers, we got to put some of this stuff on the fighter. We can't put it all on the trainer. We can't put it all on the trainer. Some of these trainers get fighters when they're already at their prime. Some trainers are able to completely transform a fighter as well, which is good. Do we want to completely transform AJ though? Do we want that? Is that good? What if the trainer he decides to be with, it could be Eddie Reynoso, it could be Teddy Atlas, it could be Buddy McGirt, it could be John Banks, it could be whoever. What if they make him a better fighter, right? For this fight, he's better prepared, but maybe AJ needs a few fights with this trainer in order to really be where he needs to be. You know, because one fight is not going to tell it. It could. I think of Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana, right? We knew how he used to fight, right? When he fought Eric Morales, you know, when he fought Victor Ortiz, when he fought Devin Alexander and got shut out, you know, Devin Alexander shut Marcos Maidana out. Dominated him, right? Maidana goes over to Robert Garcia. We start seeing him fight Josecito Lopez and some of these other guys and Soto Carras. This guy's using a jab. This guy's fainting. He's still clobbering people over the head, but the setups are nice. Got a little defense. You know, he ain't slick or nothing. He's not rolling punches, but he's different per fight. So by the time he reaches the top and fight Broner, who at this time is probably the biggest prospect in the sport, he destroys Broner. He's using feints. You know, he's doing all kind of stuff that Maidana did not do before. He even goes in there with Floyd and give Floyd hell. Floyd barely won that fight. Some people don't even think Floyd won. You know what I'm saying? So in that scenario, Robert Garcia was able to totally transform this dude. But that's because Maidana had a lot to work on. You know what I'm saying? But the chemistry between them, it worked for him. Can Robert do that for Anthony Joshua? Maybe, maybe not. You won't know until after and you see the results. We can't say the same for all of these people. We can't act like we're all experts on who's the best trainer. That's what everybody's doing. Everybody's an expert on this topic, and most people never met any of these trainers before in their life. But I do think it's not going to be something, I mean, I'm using logic here, but I don't think it's something that you spend a day with a trainer and you could decide on based on that. I mean, whatever AJ does, that's on him. You know, but spending a few hours with at a gym taking pictures, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's gonna cut it. I don't know. Whatever he does, you know, I wish him luck. You know, I hope he beats Usyk. I'm rooting for him to win, but you know, Usyk is an incredible fighter, man. He's an incredible fighter. You know, and again, like I told y'all before, what if he comes in more aggressive and he ends up getting caught with something and getting dropped or knocked out? Then what? You know? Anyway, that's my views on that. Real quick before I get out of here. I see that your Dennis Ugas got denied by the WBA to fight for a unification match against he's going to be enforced in order to fight his mandatory, who's in Montes Stanionis. Now, I did see Stanionis fight. He's the Lithuanian fighter. He fought what's this guy's name? Let me look him up real quick. I have his stuff here. He fought Tomas Delorme. I watched the fight because it was on the undercard of the Jaron Ennis fight, right? Earlier this year. I seen this kid, and he's pretty good. I thought he was pretty good.
Introducing Extremes Almonds from Blue Diamond. Good for...
Sorry, commercial popped up. One of those ads popped up. I thought the kid was pretty good. I thought he was good. I don't think he could beat Ugas, but I don't think it's an easy fight neither. But I feel bad for Ugas. You know why? Because I do believe if it was someone else, it wouldn't enforce this. But I also believe too that, you know, Pacquiao went 2 years without fighting. And Ugas got elevated to full champion earlier this year. A lot of time did go by. So you got to kind of get these mandatories out the way. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that just need to happen. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of sucks because I want to see Ugas and Arrow or Ugas or whoever just to unify. But since Ugas is going to be fighting this guy next, I guess that leaves Arrow open to having some sort of voluntary fight soon, which I think he needs. He's kind of been inactive now too, right? He didn't fight Pacquiao. He had his eye injury, so he needs to he needs to get in the ring. We need to get a fight from him. All right, but I don't like it. I don't like it. You know, DGO says they're protecting Spence. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I would like to think that Spence would want to fight Ugas. All right. What are they saving him for at this point? You know, they can't save him for Pacquiao. Where's the big fight to save him for at this point? Honestly, now that Pacquiao retired, he is the big fish. Him and Bud are the biggest names in the division currently, right? What are they saving him for? You know, at this point, what are they saving him for? I just don't know. You know, I know he was trying to shoot at Canelo a little bit, and nothing really happened for that. You know, so I guess we're just gonna wait and see what happens. You know, Ralph says Crawford. I mean, I don't know about that, man. I don't even know what's up with that fight. Don't even get me started. Counterpunch Boxing News. What's up, bro? Thank you for the donation, my man. Appreciate it, man. You've been hard at work, I see. Man, I was watching a few of your videos, man. You be keeping me updated with the news quicker than the news come out. But make sure you guys go over to Counterpunch, man. Subscribe to him and watch his content, man. Very, Very active channel, man. And one of the best out there. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. So anyway, listen, I think I went through everything today. And tomorrow I should be doing a breakdown of Shakur Stevenson against Jamel Herring. All right. This weekend. I'll be here. I'll be on here tomorrow. I should be able to do the breakdown by probably tomorrow morning or something. So I'll put it out there tomorrow. Lakin said Michael Benson just reported AJ was last seen with Robert Garcia. I was just talking about Robert Garcia. You know, again, you go in to have these meetings with trainers. Like, what is it like? What is these meetings like? Are you guys just sitting here having a business meeting? Like, what does that do? Like, how do you get to know people by one conversation? I don't know how that works, you know, but it is what it is, man. I wish AJ the best of luck in his hunt for a new trainer. If he does get a new trainer, and you know, yeah, you know, I guess at some point he's probably gonna have to figure it out. But I'm like, I told y'all yesterday, I like the fact that he realizes that a change needs to be made. All right, I do like the fact that he's doing that, and I hope he picks the right guy for him. You know, hopefully he picks the right guy for him, and hopefully he does better in the rematch, win or lose. Like that's the thing with me, win or lose, just pick the guy that's for you. I would like to see improvements. That's it. You know, I said in the fight leading up to the fight, I thought that there was going to be a point where AJ was getting outboxed and then he would adjust back to the AJ that we've seen before, the more aggressive AJ, the AJ that we've seen against Dillian White, the AJ that we've seen against Vladimir Klitschko, you know, the AJ that we saw even in the recent fight against Pulev when he had Pulev hurt a little bit and try to get him out of there. I know Pulev is not on that level at this point in his career, but again, AJ is very capable of doing things. We just need to see, I guess maybe we need a trainer. They bring it out of him, like similar to Deontay Wilder when he was Malik Scott. Malik kept saying, listen, I've seen Wilder do these things. I know he's capable of doing these things. I'm going to make it where he can do it at will. You know what I'm saying? So I think the same could be done for AJ. Again, win or lose, I just want to see improvements in the fight. If he loses to Usyk again, it is not the end of the world to me. Yes, he might lose some stock in there, okay? But the best man wins. That's all. All right? Anyway, it says Manny Robles. Listen, we can go on and on and on. I'll give you a long list. There's a lot of them out there. All right, hundreds. Anyway, I'm out of here, man. Again, make sure you smash the like button if you like the video. Subscribe if you're new, if you haven't subscribed yet. And I will be back tomorrow. I would be more and a little longer tonight, but I'm going to that Nick game tonight, man. I got to get ready to get up out of here. All right. So it was a fun live with you guys. And I'll be back on tomorrow. You guys should see me in the morning. All right. At some time. All right. Peace.